We are going to deal about the chapter Adaptations in Different Ecosystem Part 2. So let's begin the session. Let's have a quick recapitulation of the last session. That is, we have dealt about ecosystem and habitat, mangrove tree adaptations, adaptations of different animals and plants. So marine ecosystem on the basis of availability of light at different depths are demarcated. Temperature vary dramatically between the surface and the ocean floor. Sunlight plays a major role. Sunlight plays a major role in the maintaining the temperature of the ocean. Now how it does? Yes, penetration of light depends on the temperature, pressure and the salinity. Different zones in the marine ecosystem: euphotic, bathyal, abyssal. Euphotic, photic means light, so the sunlight zone is called as euphotic zone. Bathyal zone, twilight zone. Abyssal, dark and cold zone. Ocean zones: light, temperature, depth, plants and animals. Oceanic zones are 3. Depending on the penetration of sunlight, it is characterized by 3 types. First, euphotic zone, that is brightly light, temperature up to 30 degrees centigrade, depth 0 to 200 meters, plants and animals, plankton, phycelia, dolphins, flying fish, green turtles, sea anemones. Second zone, that is bathyal zone, twilight zone, that is the moonlight which we see in the full moon day. So the light is dim. Temperature is 4 to 3 degrees centigrade, depth 200 meters to 2000 meters, plants and animals, whales, lanternfish, red-brown kelps, sea cucumber, fish, squids, octopus, sponges, corals, etc. Last zone is abyssal zone, that is dark and cold zone. There is no penetration of sunlight. So the temperature is 2 to 3 degrees centigrade. It is very cold. Then depth 2000 meters to 6000 meters. Plants and animals, brittle star, anglerfish, tripod fish, etc. Now children, let's see some questions and answer them. How many zones can you see in the figure on the basis of light penetration? That is euphotic zone and the bathyal zone. What type of abiotic conditions do you find as per the given table? That is temperature, pressure and the sunlight. What will affect adaptation to marine life other than the conditions shown in the table and figure, that are pressure and salinity? What happens to the temperature and pressure as the depth decreases? Temperature decreases and the pressure increases. Which zone has more animals? Yes, 80% of flora and fauna are in euphotic zone because of good amount of light penetration, photosynthetic activity and availability of food. The above analysis shows that there are different oceanic zones with variation in temperature, pressure and light. These abiotic factors give rise to various adaptations in organisms in different zones. So you can see children, this is coastal, that is intertidal zone. This is pelagic, euphotic, bathyal and abyssal. Adaptations on the basis of light penetration: euphotic, sunlight zone; bathyal, twilight zone; abyssal, dark zone. Euphotic zone, mostly floaters and swimmers, have shiny bodies reflecting light away to merge with shiny water and surface are transparent. These usually have very sharp vision. You can see children, shiny bodies, right? Next, plants are mostly green and photosynthetic activity is maximum in this zone. Why is the photosynthetic activity more in the zone? Yes, because of the sunlight penetration. You can see children, most of the flora and fauna are found in this region. You can see the coral colonies, right? Now you can see the algal, coral reefs and the seagrass. So the emergent plant species rooted to sites in marine ecosystem, these are rooted in the continental shelf area. So these are different types of algae, diatoms children. You can see the algae which is shining, that is bioluminescent algae on the seashore, right? Now trouts, herrings, jellyfishes and the dolphins are present in the euphotic zone. Flying fish, sea pen, phycelia and different types of crustaceans are also found in this zone. Green turtles, sea anemone. Now children, here 80% of marine flora and fauna are found in this zone because of the light penetration. That's the reason it is called as euphotic zone. Bathyal zone, twilight zone. You can see green and red kelps, trouts, and tubular bodies like squids, have flat body like fin rays, that is ray fishes. Large animals like whales are present. Corals are also present. Sponges are also present in this region, children. Now, in this region, they have big sensitive eyes because the light in this zone is very dim, that is twilight zone. That's the reason they have big sensitive eyes to see in the dim light. Abyssal zone. These zones are dark and cold throughout the year. Now children, why are these zones dark and cold throughout the year? Because of there is no penetration of light in this zone. So these are very cold and dark. Now photosynthetic activity is completely absent. Why is it absent? Because there is no penetration of sunlight. Deep sea animals are mostly predators and scavengers. You can see children, angler fish have bioluminescent lure. You can see here protruding from their heads. So their lure emits a glow producing by bacteria living within. So by this will attract a prey and eat. You can see children, these have curved teeth and wide mouth. Children, just see this. They have very wide mouth and curved teeth. When the prey comes in, it will trap. So these are the adaptations of abyssal zone animals, that is anglerfish. You can see here cookie cutter shark. You can see wide mouth and curved teeth. Viper fish. You can see children again wide mouth and curved teeth. These are the adaptations shown by the abyssal zone animals. When this is again a type of fish, children, when the fish is perched with its long rays on the ocean floor, it can get food even without seeing it. So with the help of these rays, it will get the food. So children, these are called as sea floor engineer, that is brittle stars. Why are they called as sea floor engineers? Let's see. They reshape the sea floor sediment surface and influence the distribution of other sea floor species, provide nutrition to fish, sea stars and crab predators. So this is again a pelican eel, children. You can see again the wide mouth, right? So the larger forms have wide mouth and huge curved teeth, which prevents the escape of prey. So this is colossal squid, children. It is almost height of a human being. So it is called as largest known invertebrate. Absence of skeleton, flattened bodies or some other characteristics observed. So children, they have special structures to produce light. Why do they need to produce light, children? Because they are living in the abyssal zone. So special structures that produce light on their bellies, around the eyes, in the darkness of deep waters. So this is Humboldt squid, children. These are the ecosystems which are seen in the marine water, children, that is euphotic, bathyal and the abyssal. Depending on the light penetration, these zones have been characterized. Now let's see some adaptations of other fishes. Right. This is the electric eel fish, children. It is also called as electric fish. It is capable of generating electric shocks of up to 600 volts when it uses for hunting self-defense. It is an apex predator. So how do organisms of different zone of marine system are adapted? As I told you, children, they have big sensitive eyes, curved teeth, wide mouth, right? So these are the adaptations seen in the marine ecosystem. In jellyfishes decomposes, which organisms among the two shown above do you think is present in the euphotic zone? So jellyfishes are present in the euphotic zone, children. So what kind of adaptations can be seen in the organisms of the euphotic zone? Yes, they are mostly floaters and swimmers. Animals in this zone usually have shiny bodies reflecting light away to merge with the shiny water surface, are transparent. These are usually have sharp vision. What kind of adaptations can be seen in the organisms of abyssal zone? The larger forms have wide mouths and huge curved teeth, which prevents escape of any prey. Shows bioluminescence in the darkness of deep waters. What kind of differences can you find in the animals of bathyal zone when compared to animals of euphotic, that is sunlight zone, and abyssal, that is dark zone. Some of these fishes have flat body like ray-fin fishes. They may have big sensitive eyes to very dim light. So next is freshwater ecosystem. Children, till now we have seen the marine ecosystem. So let's see the freshwater ecosystem, that is rivers, ponds and lakes. The ecosystem which are seen in lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, wetlands, etc. are called as freshwater ecosystem. Algal flora varies from season to season, and an important feature of freshwater algae flora as it is cosmopolitan. So children, these are some freshwater lakes, that is Usman Sagar, Durgam Cheru, Shamirpet Lake, Ali Sagar and Vaddepalli Cheruvu. This is Laknavaram Lake, children, which is very specifically occupies the freshwater ecosystem. Why it is specifically occupied? Because it has large amount of plankton. The phytoplankton study showed that for the assessment of water quality and also contributes to understanding of basic nature of lakes. So these are the algal members comprised of 63 genera, children. So high number of individuals were represented by green algae, followed by blue-green algae, diatoms and the members. So a total number of 76 forms of phytoplanktons were recorded. So children, the total percentage of phytoplankton community were 78.15% and 21.85% are others. So this is why the Laknavaram Lake is enriched with algal forms. So the seasonal abundance of Laknavaram Lake have shown the two most prominent blue-greens and these types of algae present in this lake, children. So children, this is the freshwater lake. Again, you can see these are the ducks, frogs, fishes, tortoise, crabs, right? These are the plants which are rooted to the shelves, children, continental shelves. So let's see more about the freshwater ecosystem. So different zones in the freshwater ecosystem, that is littoral, limnatic and the profoundal. So these are the three zones, children. This is the littoral zone, the uppermost zone. Then the second zone, the limnatic zone. Next is the profoundal zone. These are the types of animals resides in each and every zone. So let's get into detail. Littoral zone. Children, you can see the turbidity of water. This water is very much clear, better than this water. So the littoral zone has the shallow zone near the shore. This topmost and warmest zone at edge of the water body. Children, this is the littoral zone, right? So these are the things which are found in the littoral zone, right? The snails, crabs, prawns, lobsters, flies, dragonflies, right? Yes. Now, so these are the fishes, children, which are found in the littoral zone. So eggs of frog, tadpoles of frog, eggs of dragonflies, larvae of dragonflies can be seen in the littoral zone. So in this zone, animals have well developed sight, usually have dull and greyish bodies and are fast swimmers. High photosynthetic activity occurs in the zone because of the light penetration, children. Plants like moses, water lily, hydrilla, valsinaria are also present. Algae are also present in this zone, children. Diatoms are also present. The predators in the littoral zone are tortoise, snake and the ducks. So the open water zone at the top of the water body and consequently receives a good amount of light is limnatic zone. So limnatic zone, children. Second zone, fish with bright, shiny, greyish or silver black scales that help them to merge with the surroundings. You can see, children, bright, shiny, silver black scales on the scales of the fish. So you can see the Daphnia, Cyclops, shrimps in this region. Usually transparent or whitish body crustaceans like Daphnia, Cyclops, small shrimps found in this zone. So these are types of plants present in this zone, children. The water hyacinth, wolfia and the pistia. These are the floating plants. Variety of algae. Photosynthetic activity is the highest. We can see the volvox, the diatoms, red algae, brown algae and the green algae. So the last zone is profoundal zone. This is dimly light and cold. Mostly heterotrophs, that is saprophytes, microbes that decompose dead organisms. Most of the animals, the so-called bottom dwellers that live here are mostly scavengers and predators. So this is the catfish, clownloach, gararufa and armor catfish which are present in this zone, children. So this is the hermit crab and these are the eels. So they adapt themselves by feeding the dead animals that settle down. So this is Iskadundlu children. Glossiobias, many kind of bacteria, detritus bacteria thrive here that helps in decomposition of the dead organisms. Turtles are also present in this zone children. So mud of the bottom floor, tiny particles of dead and decaying matter of plants and animal bodies make the water very turbid. Hence the bottom dwellers rely mostly on the smell and auditory senses rather than vision to acquire their food. So these are the otters, beavers and the badgers. Mammals like these live near the water and are capable of swimming to catch their main source food, particularly the fish. So these are present near the shore children. So they will be hunting the fish. So otter, beaver and the badgers. So children, you can see the frog, toads, alligators, crocodiles and the salamanders are present here. So these animals start life underwater as eggs and tadpoles and then move to ground as adults. You can see children, the dragonfly, skater, mosquito and the beetles are found on the surface of the water. So they can swim over the surface of the ponds, so playing a critical role in the food supply of other animals. So you can see children, the duck, the swan and the goose. So they reside in and around the lake ecosystem, feeding on a number of different items including fish. So you can see children, the cranes, herons and egrets. You can see children, the duck has web feet. This will help to swim. This crane has long legs. Herons and egrets have long legs. So this will help them to hunt in the water. So the water salinity and the fish adaptations. Different fish species have very different tolerance for water salinity. All marine and freshwater fish maintain a constant internal salt concentration which is midway between that of freshwater and the seawater. Several marine species have lower internal salt concentration, so they tend to dehydrate as water is lost by osmosis. To compensate, they drink large amount of water and excrete the salts both via their kidneys and through highly specialized cells in gills. Children, assume my hand as the fish. Now children, this is the marine fish. Now this is the internal and this is the external. Internal, external, right children? So the marine fish has low internal salt concentration. Now the fish resides in the marine environment, that is marine fish, right? Now marine water is salty. Now the fish which is present in the marine is low salt concentration. Internal low salt concentration. Now the external salt concentration is very much high. Now children, we know in the chapter osmosis we have studied the movement of water molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane, that is called as osmosis, right? Now children, the fish has low internal salt concentration. Now this concentration, external concentration is more. What happens? The water from the internal is moving out because it is more. Now what happens? The fish dehydrates, so it drinks lots of water. Now again, water has what children? Yes, it has salt. So it has to maintain the low salt concentration. That's the reason it will release out the excess salt in the form of urine, that is hypertonic urine, and it will retain the water also. This is the adaptation of marine fish. You can see children, the marine species, right? So the internal salt concentration is very low, external is very high, so they tend to lose more amount of water. To compensate the water loss, they drink the sea water, but again the sea water is having the salt concentration, so the salt is driven out by the urine. This is the adaptation of marine fish, children. Now again, the freshwater fish has high internal salt concentration and the concentration around the water is low. Now what happens? Yes, high, low. Now water will enter into the fish. Now it has to maintain the high internal salt concentration. So what it does, it will excrete more amount of water and it will retain the salt by specialized cells in the gills and the kidneys. This is the reason it will survive. Now, freshwater fish have higher internal salt concentration and they tend to float because osmosis leads to excess water entering the body through the permeable membranes in the mouth and the gills. So, the water can be excreted in the form of urine, but to maintain a suitable salt balance, freshwater fish need to reabsorb salt through the kidneys and collect additional salts through the salt collecting cells in the gills. This is the children. This is the picture you can see. Now, the freshwater fish has high internal salt concentration. Now, the external is low. Now, what happens? More amount of water will enter into the fish. It will dilute the salt concentration. Now, what it does? It will eliminate the excess water in the form of hypotonic urine. Now, it will retain the salts with the help of salt collecting cells in the gills. This is the adaptation of freshwater fish and marine fish by the salt adaptations. The tolerance of freshwater fish for saline water. When the water salinity level exceeds the fish ability to adjust its salt regulation mechanism, the delicate salt and fluid balance is upset and the fish dies. Now, adaptations in aquatic plants. Children, you can see the water hyacinth. Leaf bases of water hyacinth, that is Eichhornia, forms air-filled structures to keep them float. You can see, children, air-filled structures. So, they are, with the help of these, they are floating. So, water lily. Those, you can see, children, the leaves are flat and they have oily surfaces with stomata present on the upper surface of the leaf. So, the water lilies have leaves flat and have a oily surface with stomata present on the upper surface of the leaf. Lotus plant, children, you can see the hollow stem. By this, they will do the respiration. Large air spaces which connect the stems with the aerial roots, making the diffusion from the upper parts much more efficient. Children, this is the hydrilla. Stomata are absent, leaves are very thin, stems are highly flexible, can grow at low intensities of light. It is better at absorbing carbon dioxide from the water. Then again, children, the hydrilla has more specification, that is, it is able to store nutrients for later use. It can tolerate a wide range of quality, that is water quality conditions. For example, the salinity. Now, children, we all know that marine water has more salt, fresh water has less amount of salt. This hydrilla plant can sustain more salt concentrations in the water. Now, it can grow in saline water as well as fresh water, and it can propagate sexually and asexually. Adaptations to temperature in plants. Some plants in temperate region shed their leaves before the winter starts to minimize transpiration loss, reduced photosynthetic activity and other metabolic activities. Children, we know through the process of transpiration the water is lost. Now, we know that in the chapter the plant tissues we have studied, the plant takes, assume if the plant take 1 liter of water, only 0.1 ml is utilized for the photosynthesis. Rest amount of water, that is 99% of water, is again evaporated out in the form of transpiration, right? So, to avoid the transpiration, they will shed out their leaves before the winter comes, and they will reduce photosynthetic activity and other metabolic activities. As low temperature renders several chemicals are inactive for some time. In tropical regions, some plants shed leaves before start of summer. Plants growing in hot climates usually keep the stomata closed. Now, children, what does the stomata do? Yes, it is acting as the nostrils of the plant, right? It will take in the carbon dioxide and give off the oxygen. Now, the stomata is also closed in the hot climates during the day to reduce transpiration loss. And children, stomata also plays an important role in the transpiration process, right? Yes. Now, the high temperature can lead to adaptations like reduced leaf. Children, you can see adaptation to temperature in animals. Seal. Children, in the last session we have seen how seals will collapse their lungs and swims down, right, without any efforts. Now, children, the adaptations to temperature in animals, that is seal and whale. So, seals and whales, now thick layer of fat, that is blubber, is deposited under their skin, helps in producing heat and energy. So, the seals and whales have fat, that is blubber, deposited under the skin. This is making them to produce heat and energy. Polar bear, hair covering their bodies and thick fur or coat. So these are helping them to withstand the low temperature, polar region, right children? They are reside in polar region. It is very cold. So the hair covering the fur is protecting the polar bear. So these act as insulators, preventing heat loss from their bodies. Adaptations are response to adverse situations. Now children, we know the frog is an amphibian. Frog is an amphibian, right? It can live both land and water. Now children, it can be only seen in the rainy season. It is favorable to it. So to avoid the high and low temperature, it goes to sleep. Yes, it sleeps in the summer. It sleeps in the winter. Summer sleep is called as estivation. Winter sleep is called as hibernation. Children, the lichens. A flavoring agent, that is patthar pool, is used in preparing biryani. It is also a type of lichen. Now children, your mouth might be watered by hearing the biryani, right? Now the lichens which we are using in biryani is the type of fungi only. Yes, there are some useful fungi also children. So let's see the lichens. So the fungus colony attacks an algal colony. Algae lives on the form of symbiotic relationship with the fungi in colonies like lichens. Children, in the last session we have seen the symbiosis between clownfish and the sea anemone, right? Let's see the symbiotic relationship between the algae and fungus. So children, you can see this is the fungal hyphae. These are the algal cells and this is the fungal hyphae. Now the algal cells are attacked by the fungal hyphae. They will protrude into the algal and form the fungal hyphae. Now children, instead of fighting, what they do? They will have a deal with them. What is the deal? Now the fungus will provide minerals and salts to the algae. With the help of that, the algae will photosynthesis. By the process of photosynthesis, they will synthesize the sugars. That sugars they will give to the fungi. This is the symbiotic relationship between fungal and algae. So the fungus provides water and minerals to the algae. So the algae performs photosynthesis and supply food in the form of sugars to the fungus. Due to such symbiotic adaptations, lichens are able to survive even in extreme conditions. Story of Darwin's fishes. You know children, he is Charles Darwin. In his ship HMS Beagle, he went to a Galapagos island. He was amazed to see that 13 types of finches that differed with respect to beaks and the color of the feather present in the small regions of the Galapagos island, even within very closely related forms in a particularly geographical separated area. You can see children, these are the types of the finches. This is large tree finch, mangrove finch, woodpecker finch, Walfer finch, Cocos Island finch, small ground finch, medium ground finch, large ground finch, sharp-beaked ground finch, cactus finch, large cactus finch, vegetarian finch, small tree finch and the middle tree finch. So these mainly feed on the seeds, these on the insects, these on the cactus and these on the buds. The seed eaters had thick and heavy beaks, the fruit eaters have stubby beaks, the insect eaters have sharp and long beaks. So he concluded that adaptation was something that an organism is undergoing continuously. What we have learnt: marine ecosystem and the freshwater ecosystem, types, zones, water salinity and fish adaptations, adaptations in aquatic plants, adaptations to temperature in animals, adaptations to temperature in plants, the story of the Darwin finches and the lichens. Improve your learning. If an animal of euphotic zone has to survive in the abyssal zone, what adaptations are required to survive there? Marine water fishes drink more water than the fresh water. Do you agree? Justify. In the chapter on ecosystem, we had studied about the mangrove ecosystem, in what way it is different from the marine ecosystem, how frog protects themselves from cold and heat. For a better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheet. Please visit the official website of the SCERT. Children, I hope this session have shown you the adaptation shown by the different ecosystems of different animals. Thank you.